Hey everybody, so what is a cam going to actually do? Well, supposedly going to give me more power. Phil's finding top dead center right now. But before we start the Baja Diaries, I wanted to get a little bit more oomph out of my 650. And I know there's a couple guys out there that gave me some tips on my YouTube channel on, you know, as far as maybe adding a Mikuni carb syntax. I talked to Bob about the Mikuni carb on the XR650, and he does say he has had pretty good luck with that. But I got a trip here next week, and I don't want to play carb games. You guys all know, like, playing with the carb is like, you could maybe not get it running right, you know, and it may take me a couple weeks to kind of dial that in. It just makes me a little nervous, but a cam is the route I'm going to go on this video. So the cam I'm using is the Stage 2 Hotcams from Hotcams. Jay Clark at Hotcams recommended this, and then after talking to Bob and his knowledge back in early 2000s, the Hotcam came closest as far as profile of the grind that they used for the factory Honda and Johnny Campbell's bike. So that made me excited to, you know, use a Hotcam. So thank you, Jay, for that. Thank you, Hotcams. So originally I was going to do a video on how to install a cam. But once I got to Precision Concepts and I started talking to Bob, I thought there was a lot better content and knowledge coming from him on what does adding a cam to a Honda XR650R do? What are the benefits? What are the drawbacks? Does it make it less reliable? Where does it put the power? So I basically mic'd up Bob as Phil started putting the cam in, and you can listen in on what he had to say. I will put a link to another video on how to install a Hotcam in the description box below. That way you don't have to waste your time if you're not interested. So here's Bob. Okay, so we're putting this cam in this bike. Tell us a little bit about back in the day. You were using the factory Honda cam, right?
Yes.
And you said that the Hotcam was pretty close as far as grind.
Yeah, the Hotcam that was at Stage 2, I believe, is the closest duplicate you can get to the factory cam that we were running back when we were racing with Team Honda. And you know, obviously they don't make the Team Honda cam anymore. I mean, some guys are able to scrounge them up on the internet or something, but realistically they're incredibly hard to find.
Okay.
But Hotcam duplicated it really well, so totally trust their Stage 2 cam for running on the 650s.
So what will you, if you have a stock 650, what are you going to get by just throwing in this cam? What do you notice, the first thing you notice? Or
well, when you say stock 650, I hesitate a little bit there because the stock 650 is so plugged up to meet California Resources Board that if you just stuck the cam in and didn't do anything else, it probably wouldn't be advantageous. But you know what most people do, they'll take the take the side cover off here, and you got a snorkel plus another plastic piece. So you take that out so that the airbox can breathe better, rejet the carb for it. If you have a 49 state bike or a California bike, you have to make sure it has a full-size intake manifold, because some of the early ones came with a really plugged-up intake manifold. But once you go to there, and like this bike has a pipe on it, now it's the perfect bike to put a cam in, because what's going to happen is the stock cam is designed, you know, it's like a trail cam. The idea is first, second, third gear in the trails, fourth and fifth is down fire roads to get to the next trail, so it doesn't have a lot of mid to top end overrun. By putting the cam in, the bike's going to smooth out a little bit on the bottom, but it's going to pull a lot stronger all the way through and all the way through to the top, and give it a lot better power in mid all the way through the top, so you can run each gear longer and stuff, and it's going to be very noticeable.
now, as far as jetting or airbox mod, that can be done later. It's not necessarily, but I think I remember you telling me if you do you can't just do the airbox mod, because it kind of counterintuitive. You need
Now, when you're talking about the air mocs, when you're talking about cutting
the little
triangles,
screen. Yeah.
Doing that adds about 1 horsepower, but you need to have all these other mods on it first. Now that you've put the cam in it, and you have a pipe on it, and it's jetted, and it's got the snorkel out of the airbox, then you could do the cut. Realistically, you don't need to. Your air filter will get dirty a little quicker. That's more of a racing cut for high-speed racing like Baja or Best in the Desert or something. For just normal everyday riding and stuff, I probably wouldn't necessarily do it because, yeah, I give you a little more horsepower, but it's not really that necessary because the bike's going to run really good now. So when I had my bike, the full factory Hondas were designed to go Best in the Desert or Baja, and they run 110 miles an hour in some straights, and so that's where the airbox cut came in. But other than that, the bike will easily do 100 miles an hour with the right gearing on it right now.
What about the gearing? Right now I'm running a 48 and then I think a 15 in the front.
Our factory gearing was 1547, and so like I say, that with the motor being capable.
Now I could probably go down another tooth in the back.
You can go 1547 and it'll pull it. And like I say, that's well over 100 mile an hour gearing.
Wow.
So even right now, if you have a 1548, you can easily pull over 100 miles an hour, low hundreds. So even with this motor, the only difference between where you are right now is we had a ported head, a cut power-up piston, and then we had that special exhaust that was it was a top-end exhaust, basically. And those things allowed it to pull a few more miles an hour top speed than what you're going to have. But that did sacrifice some bottom end, so that's why this is a really good package right here, because you kind of get a little bit of everything, and most people don't need to do over 100 miles an hour.
Yeah, of course.
And I was totally happy with that. 99% of everybody out there, this is like super reliable, but very, very strong package. And if you just have to go race it and you want that extra bit, then, like I say, a cut piston boarding, and we'll finish it off, and then opening up the airbox finishes it off. But I would only do that for pure racing purposes.
Yeah.